Captain's Log, Subdate 200617.8. The Talaxian is dead. No Fs for him. He was lucky that I didn't have access to a Metreon cascade. I wonder if there's a recipe for one. Donate to my Streamlabs so I can get the materials. And tendies. Welcome everyone to the Halls of Injustice. Before we start, I'm streaming on Twitch later tonight, new video on Moisky Live, and I want to offer a minor correction to last week's on Miss Hitler. See, I went through the video with a level of sarcasm that I probably shouldn't have because I didn't have a sign ready. Contest currently running, by the way, for a Moist badge. Send your submissions any way you like, as long as it gets to me. In the video, I never explicitly detailed what the crime was. Sadly, it's a crime I don't agree with, but I forgot to mention that. The crime of hate. Being a member of a banned group is under the hate crime law of the United Kingdom. That is what Miss Hitler and her cohorts were sentenced under. There were some related charges concerning illegal weaponry, but they were minor by comparison. And yes, I'm very much aware of the more biased perception in the criminal justice system for those who are right-leaning and not those on the left. Yes, I'm very much aware of it. Now today I'd like to talk about Hashok Parmar and his business partner Saiz Guzali. Don't care if I've mispronounced your names, you're in prison. Doesn't matter to me. To me you're just convict and then insert numbers here. They ran a business together, a law firm called Sterling Law Solicitors based in Loughborough. It was also a scam, obviously, which was used as a cover, the law firm that is, to sell 3 properties in London that they did not own as part of a £3 million scam, which obviously means, yes, they were trying to flog 3 of the cheaper properties in London. To carry out the sales, Hashok Parmar forged documents and was in fact successful in selling one of the properties, which saw £240,000, so a garden shed, go to them, i.e. Hashok Parmar and Said Ali, before it got moved around in overseas accounts. For the business to work, Said Guzali was the business practice manager, and Parmar was the only solicitor on the books. The crimes they've committed are more commonly known as property takeover fraud and money laundering. Property takeover fraud occurs where criminals change the deeds or titles of a property and pretend to be the owner in order to take it over. It is actually a growing crime and is becoming a bigger problem for law firms, whose clients think they are buying a property fairly and legally, but in reality is not for sale and has never even been on the market. The value of the fraud more than tripled between 2013 and 2017 according to the Land Registry, soaring from £7.2 million to £24.9 million, which when you think about it, based on the £3 million fraud they were trying to commit, means they were trying to hustle about 12% of the current market, which is quite impressive. They weren't anywhere near monopolising, but they were never going to be that kind of company in the first place. This case was originally started back in 2015 after a client had believed they'd bought a property in London, more than likely the property in question for £240,000, aka the 6x4 garden shed, in London, only to find out that they had been scammed. The Leicestershire police released a statement after all of this saying that it later transpired that the sale was fraudulent and the property was never on sale, nor did the rightful owners know anything about what had occurred. The investigation revealed Ali provided bogus paperwork to confirm the identity of the sellers to the conveyancing solicitors. Following the transfer of the £240,000, the money was transferred to other accounts overseas and withdrawn in cash, which was then paid into various bank accounts, including ones belonging to Ali and a solicitor's account associated with Parmar. Attempts were then made to sell 2 further properties in London in similar circumstances. For anyone to be able to retrieve that money, which is now currently lost to the ether, a confiscation order needs to be submitted, and then a different set of proceedings needs to then take place, as much of the money is in fact abroad. Yes, some of it did come back through money laundering processes, but that money got watered down a bit and wasn't as much as what it originally started as. Detective Constable Matthew Swift, name no irony I guess when you think it took 4 years for this to get anywhere, of the Leicestershire Police Force's Economic Crime Unit has said, this was a lengthy and complex investigation which has taken more than 4 years to get to this stage. Between the end of 2014 and beginning of 2015, attempts were made to sell 3 properties. Each sale had the same modus operandi. A person would pretend to be the real owner and would agree a sale to an innocent purchaser. The properties were in London, but the conveyancing would be conducted by firms of solicitors in Leicester, introduced by Ali or Parmar. Luckily, solicitors for 2 of the 3 sales became suspicious and the defendants were unsuccessful. We are pleased the investigation has subsequently led to both men being convicted for their crimes. It will hopefully go some way in reassuring the community that we can and will investigate such offences and bring those responsible to justice and deter others from committing sophisticated frauds. Hashok Parmar and Saeed Gus Ali both pled guilty to all the charges once this went to court. That doesn't mean they got a lesser sentence, by the way. It just means they admitted fault. Well, that's one thing, I guess. So what was the sentence? They both received 6 years. As there's one detail I'm not entirely sure about, I can't tell when they will both be released from prison. That detail being, during the investigation, were they held in custody or not? Because if they were, it would in fact lessen their sentence. When one looks at the sentencing guidelines from the Crown Prosecution Service, 6 years is actually right in the middle. It's a good sentence. So as far as I am concerned, the 6-year sentence they both received is fitting and fair. But I'm not totally against the idea of sticking them both on Titan to do diggy hole things, 'cause why not? And I'd make them listen to that song, Diggy Hole, on loop for 6 years, while dressed up as dwarves. If you think that's a bad idea, do let me know, but I have nothing against the idea of turning people into dwarves. Apparently they're really good at digging holes. As far as this crime goes, I'd very much like to know what you think. When it comes to property takeover fraud being on the rise, and that of money laundering, I'd love to know what you think and whether you think the sentences for Hashok Parmar and Saeed Ali were correct. I tend to think they are, but I could be wrong, and if I am, do tell me. If I don't see you tonight on Twitch, hope you'll have a fantastic Wednesday. It's a Wednesday. Oh, one last thing. I have 2 Halls of Injustice targets I had planned. One's Chad Daybell, because the bodies of the children have finally been found, and it's been confirmed it's the children, but I'm going to wait until next week, I think, for that. Along with Alberto Del Rio, but I'm still waiting for a court date on that as well, but I am collecting sources. I thought I'd let you know this now because both of those will be longer format Halls of Injustice videos. So anyway, enjoy your day. Thank you all for listening.